So I'm in Umphang, Thailand, just leaving from my guest house here, the Umphang house. Here's a sign for the place where I'm staying. Right there. And in happier times, when there are tourists in town, they offer trekking tours, rafting, elephant riding, trips to the Losu waterfall, and things like that. I noticed that back in some buildings to the right, they have some large rafts, like blow-up rafts for rafting down the river. But I think I'm the only person staying here right now. And this guest house has a fairly nice location, looking right across the road at some greenery and the hills beyond. Skies are not exactly blue right now because we're entering the hot season and there's a lot of haze and dust in the air, I guess. So you don't get crystal blue skies anymore, which I was enjoying up in Mesot for the last couple of months. I got down here just in time for the perfect weather to disappear. I don't know much about Umphang and this area in general, but I think it's rather special atmosphere. Has a lot to do with how close it is to the border with Myanmar. So historically, I think the people in this area were the same people that you would have found across the border in Myanmar. The Karen, the Aka, the Losu, and the Hmong people. I think the Karen people were the largest group here. And you still find, of course, a lot of Karen people across the border in Myanmar. And there are large refugee camps of Karen people along the highway between here and Mesot, and then further north. I was reading this morning that a long time ago, when the Karen people, the traders, would come from Myanmar into Thailand, they would carry their ID, their identification documents, in a bamboo container that they called, I think, an umpha in their language, and that's where the name Umphang comes from. I read that in the Lonely Planet guidebook, so whether that is true or not, I'm not sure. So that's one thing that makes this town unique, its proximity to Myanmar and the presence of all the Karen and Hmong and Aka and Losu people. And of course, the region is very hilly and it's quite remote here as well. That as you come south from Mesot, the road pretty much dead ends. If you come down here from Mesot, you can go further south. The road continues, but eventually it just stops. There's no way to go south and exit from this area. As you come down from Mesot, it dead ends here, and the only way out is to turn around and go back, the way that you came. So it feels like a fairly remote area when you come down here, especially when you go through all those hills and around all the 1,219 curves. And it has a friendly, welcoming atmosphere because it's so small. It's a very small town, 4 or 5 streets in one direction, 7 or 8 blocks in the other direction, and then you're basically out into the countryside. And the last thing that makes it unique, I think, is the relatively high level of tourism, at least in the pre-pandemic era. So it feels very different from a typical Thai town. I passed through a lot of little settlements, driving from Mesot to here, and then when you hit Umphang, it's like, whoa, this place feels different. Then you try to pinpoint what it is that makes it feel different, and it's all those things I just mentioned, but it's also the relatively high number of businesses that cater to tourists, whether Thai tourists or foreign tourists. And of course, those establishments have a different look to them, a different style than the typical Thai business would. And you see a little bit more English, perhaps. I see English signs here. People don't seem to speak English, but when you look at some of these businesses, or they might have signs in English or menus in the coffee shop in English, and signs pointing the way, and just the nature of the businesses. I'm heading towards one right now that is a very good example of what I'm talking about. It's a type of business that you only find in tourist towns. I say it's very quiet here, but I'm still nearly getting run over by trucks and motorcycles. But you know how in tourist towns around the world, you'll find a business that caters only to tourists. So you go in and they sell T-shirts with the name of the town you're in, mugs, just souvenir, basically, a souvenir shop. And there's a place like that right across the road here. So here's the place. I was trying to remember the name of it, and that's the name there. The Bun Crew Sun, I believe, is the name for the whole place. And they've got a nice little coffee shop. I was here yesterday having a coffee, and I'm sure I will come back at some point, maybe today, and have another cup of coffee. So it's right on the street here. And on the inside, it's a tourist shop. As you can see what I was talking about, all the little doodads that tourists buy when they pass through town. Books, maps, coffee mugs, postcards. And in the back, they have the Sun Bar and Restaurant. So I was thinking I might even come back here to have lunch, just because, yeah, why not check the place out. They serve something here called boat noodles, and I don't really know what boat noodles are. But yeah, it's been a long, long time since I've seen a shop like this. You know, one where they have all these postcards, and then little things like this, like fridge magnets or keychains, little purses. And you get all these stickers for Umphang 1090, that's the road you drive down from Mae Sot. And of course, the 1219 curves, the famous Sky Highway. If I had my own scooter or bicycle or a car, maybe I'd buy one of these stickers and put it on. And Umphang coffee mug. If I had a home, I'd probably buy a coffee mug too. And of course, whenever tourists go off on a trip, they get somewhere, they realize they need all these little things, like a little book bag, a book tote. And of course, everyone needs T-shirts. These are kind of cool, actually. I like that one. Sort of a typical sung tao. Is that how you say it? You know, the local transportation. Couldn't imagine being stuck inside one of these for 4 hours, you know, from Mae Sot to come down to Umphang. Certainly a lot more comfortable taking your own scooter. And a T-shirt for 1219 curves, 168 kilometers from Mae Sot to Umphang. And the name of this business, Ban Kru Sun, Umphang, Tak Province, Thailand. And of course, a tourist going on a holiday suddenly discovers they need a hat to protect themselves from the sun. So they sell hats here. Oh, and here, I'm probably not going to go there, so we can see what it looks like. That is the Thi Lor Su waterfall. And as I said, it's not a waterfall with one single, river. or flow. It's actually spread out over a wide cliff. And then you get water flowing in all these different areas, creating pools at different levels. So I imagine it is quite nice. There's a whole selection of mugs. Very bright and colorful. There's a cyclist. I was wondering how many people ride bikes from Mae Sot to Umphang, because that would definitely be a challenging ride. You need some strong legs to get over all these curves. I don't know what's going on here. I'm wondering if this guy is a famous musician from this area. This guy with the mustache, because I think that's him. Yeah, these are all pictures of the same guy. Guitar player and singer. And photo albums. Okay, there he is as a young man. So I wonder if he's a famous local musician or if he just happens to be, maybe he's connected to this restaurant and coffee shop and store. Huh. And continuing to the back, this is the bar and restaurant. It looks very nice. And when you look at this wall, I think you can sort of know what I'm talking about when I talk about what a tourist town looks like. I mean, this display is very familiar. You would find an almost identical kind of colorful, artistic, fun display in tourist towns everywhere in the world. And of course, something like this with the name Umphang and then the red pin. It's sort of like a checkpoint, so of course this is set up for people to take pictures, to take selfies there. Their souvenir of their time in Umphang. Boat noodles, and I don't know what boat noodles are. Regular, jumbo, fried pork. Yeah, I don't know if they're open or not. But yeah, so there's the place. Yeah, it's so weird to be in a place like this because it just has that feeling of a ghost town. I'm actually surprised that this place is still open because there are no tourists. But maybe on the weekends, a lot of Thai people still come down here from Mae Sot. In any event, it makes sense that the coffee shop at the front is open because when I had my coffee there yesterday, it was really busy, really popular with people driving up on their scooters and ordering a coffee to go. Yeah, really nice place. It's the sort of place where you could spend a few minutes, and then the longer you stay here, the more of these pieces of art and vintagey things you find all over the place. Now that is a vintage TV. Check that out. Another one there. And up there is a painting of our musician, the guitar player. I noticed the guitar at his display had "For Baby" printed on it, and the guitar he's holding there also says "For Baby." Wonder if that's just a slogan or the name of his band or his singing name. I don't know. Yeah, there it is over there. Yeah, Yeah, I noticed this guitar right here, and it says for baby down there. I just realized that they do have some tapes. Look at that. Cassette tapes. Heart warmer. Sun surprise. Huh. Just holding a cassette tape is a weird experience. Of course, I grew up with these. It's like the most familiar thing in the world, but they're just so rare now. I mean, I actually was thinking it would be nice to buy some music from this guy just to hear what he sounds like. But I don't have anything that can play a cassette tape, obviously. Nothing with me. So, yeah, they're more like museum pieces than anything else right now. Whoa, and here's a whole, oh, CDs as well. Okay. A little bit more modern. It's the same guy, mustache guy. And he's got a whole bunch of albums that he's released. But even a CD doesn't do me any good because, yeah, it's not like I have a CD player in my backpack. So there you have it, the Ban Cru Sun. Really a nice place. And the coffee shop out front. I took a picture of these signs when I was here last time. I like this one. The 1219 curves. And then it has a sign showing what happens to a lot of people when they try to drive along those curves. This one is very cool. That would look good on a shirt. I like the motorcycle. And over here, okay. Another photo op. They even tell you, let's take a photo. Welcome. And this is a map of Umphang. It's labeled, but of course it's all in Thai. So, but as you can see, it's quite a small place. You know, just sort of like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6 streets in both directions. I went walking yesterday and I noticed they have a pretty large hospital here, which probably serves this entire region south of Mae Sot. This is where we are. You're here. And my guest house is just down in here somewhere. Continuing my walk around Umphang. Right across the road from this tourist souvenir shop, a restaurant, and coffee shop, there's another guest house. This one is called K&K Guest House. There it is over there. When I arrived, I noticed a bunch of guest houses that were closed. You could tell they had names in English, but they were not actually open. This place appears to be open. And from what I saw online, they have rooms inside this main building, but then they have a grounds in the back with separate bungalows. Let's go take a look. I always like looking at hotels, even if I have no intention of staying there. Once I'm settled into a place, it takes a lot to get me to move to a new hotel. I'll just stay where I am, even if I find a place that I think is better. It's just I don't really care much about where I stay. But from what I saw online, I think this place is about twice as expensive as where I'm staying. I think it would cost 500 or 600 baht a night to stay here. At least that's what I saw listed online. And where I'm staying is like 250, 300. The street right ahead of me also gives a good indication of the flavor of Umphang. As I said, it's an interesting combination. Not odd, it's a good combination of local Thai life, traditional life, and then just a sprinkling of tourism conveniences and fun things. I don't know how much is open along the street right now because it's still pretty early in the morning. But here's the street I'm talking about. And I walked by here the other day, and I didn't see any possibility of actually getting a pizza. But maybe in happier times, you can get a pizza with fresh ingredients and popcorn. You know, there's actually a big display of popcorn here the other day. And just the style of these businesses just sort of looks typically tourist town, right? Here again, selling some clothing that probably a visitor would be interested in, and just the style of this, of the architecture of this building. I'm running into some serious technology problems this morning. It actually started over the last couple of weeks that my original GoPro has been giving me trouble, and today it won't turn on at all. There seems to be something wrong with the power button. It appears to be jammed and broken. I can't get the GoPro to turn on. So Armando here has stepped up to the plate and saved my neck. I've had to switch over to Armando GoPro number 2 because my original GoPro, I don't know, just looking at that power button, it seems perhaps to have reached the end of its useful lifetime. That's kind of sad. Huh. Well, we'll see. Maybe I can fix it. I'll have to check later on. So I'm still walking around Umphang, and I came to this Umphang check-in spot. There it is across the road. This is really quite interesting because I get the impression that this was all built just in time for the pandemic to hit. So obviously, I mean, it's designed for tourists and visitors as a selfie place. So you've got a tiger here, kind of a paper mache over top of a wire body, you know, wire structure. It's lit up from the inside and it's kind of falling apart now. And over here, it's quite an interesting rhinoceros beetle. It's quite big. You can see me compared to the, you know, it's a monstrous size. Then of course it's designed for visitors to pose for pictures in front of it. And then over here is a fake waterfall. I looked at it from behind and they've got a big cinder block wall, and then they built this replica of the Tilo Su waterfall. And there's no water flowing right now, but maybe when it was built, water was flowing. Maybe there's some water pumps in there. And then they have this nice walkway. And the idea, of course, is that as a visitor to Umphang, you need your selfies, you need your souvenirs, and you come here to take your picture. So there's me with the Tilo Su waterfall. But just based on the condition of this place, it kind of feels like it was built like a year ago, and probably the town poured a lot of money and creative effort into designing and building this place. And then as soon as it was done, I think the pandemic hit, and then all the visitors disappeared. So I don't know whether they got much use out of this place or not. Oh, thank goodness for Armando. My GoPro number 2, saving my neck here, because GoPro number 1 has let me down. Really like this. I love rhinoceros beetles. Still in pretty good condition. The tiger didn't fare so well. And right across the road is the typical tourist map for this region. And this one does have some English labels on it. Gives you an idea of some of the places you can visit. And this might be where I'm going. There's a cave. It has the name in Thai, but I don't know what the name is. And there's some of the scenery. And I don't know if this is a Tilo Su waterfall or a different one. I don't see any kind of a distance marker. So I'm not quite sure how far apart all these things are. Where am I? Oh, okay, so there's Umphang up there, the big red circle. And down here is Tilor Lei waterfall and Tilor Su waterfall. And as far as I know, they're just not very close to any roads. So in order to get to them, you kind of have to do a lot of 4x4 travel or go along the river in a raft or something. I don't know what's down here. I'm gonna walk down there a little bit. Well, whenever you see kind of a gate like this, usually means it's a market of some kind. Oh yeah. But this market area is probably at night or during the weekend. Nothing going on here right now. Oh, okay, I think this is also where you would get your song tao, maybe? Is that what you call them? To go to Mesot. So for public transportation, this is pretty much your only option for going from here back to Mesot if you don't have a scooter. I wonder if these people are on their way to Mesot or coming from there. Anyway, there's probably some interesting things to look at up in that direction if I keep walking, but I think I'm going to leave my walk around Umphang to that for now. I just basically walked down the main street. As I said, a pretty small place, but I think I'm going to head back to the house, get on my scooter, and head towards the cave before it gets too hot. I can already feel the sun starting to beat down. Huh. The people that run the Umphang house are definitely good at signposting. I feel like I'm quite far away from it, but there's another sign right here pointing the way. I admire that kind of organization. And even the road signs here have a bit of a ornate feeling to them, which you tend to find in tourist towns. So I will not try to pronounce the name of this street, but that is the name of this street. But yeah, this street gives you a very good idea of what the town is like. You know, very pleasant to walk around, especially once you get off the main road. You get all these nice traditional Thai wooden houses. Hills in the background, probably in the cool, dry season would be probably even much more attractive because you'd have nice blue skies and you could probably see farther. That's a very cool set of homes. Little side streets. And this is where the Umphang house is located. There actually seem to be a lot of cats that make this their home, or maybe they live in the surrounding houses. They have collars on. They look like well cared for pets. And I've been trying to befriend them, but so far I've been shunned. As hard as I try to coax them over to me for a bit of attention, they have ignored me. They've kept their distance. Yeah, there's my room up there, room number 9. Actually, I haven't even seen inside any of these bungalows. Why don't we go take a quick look at one just to get a comparison. I don't think there's anybody staying here right now. I don't know for sure that these bungalows cost the same as the room I'm staying in, but I think they do. Ah, that's quite nice. So it looks a lot nicer than the bungalow at K&K that we just saw. Just has a nice atmosphere. Has the thatch walls. And okay, the difference might be air conditioning. Yeah, that's what's going on here. So when I told him that I was interested in air conditioning, he showed me one of those rooms. And looking around inside here, I don't see an air conditioner. It's got a fan, and they've got some nice, that's really nice to have the mosquito netting on the windows so you can open that and get a breeze coming through. So you could stay here for 250 baht a night, and it's fan only. And pretty, yeah, standard bathroom. I haven't been able to get the heater to work in my room yet, so I do have a hot water heater in my room, but all I get is cold water at the moment. But that doesn't bother me. Oh, that could be why. There's a fuse box in my room as well, or a switch like this, and it is set to off. And maybe this controls the power for that heater. So maybe if I turn mine on, maybe mine will suddenly work. I'll test that theory. But yeah, this is quite nice. I often hear from foreigners that they find the beds in Thailand to be too hard. And that seems to be a common criticism when they talk about where they stayed around the country. You know, they like the hotel and they like everything about it, but then they'll say that the mattress is generally too hard for Western tastes. But I think they have a soft upper mattress on top of the hard mattress down below, because I think they get a lot of foreigners staying here. So that feels a little bit softer. And I like this a lot. I brought my own mosquito net. I always have my own, but these rooms, yeah, it's a nice mosquito net too. It's in really good condition. Because a room like this, obviously, with all these gaps around there, mosquitoes could probably get in quite easily. So I think a mosquito net would be essential. But anyway, I like it. Yeah, I like that little spot, that little room. Oh, and there's the raft I was talking about. So I guess if you organized a trek from here to the waterfalls or a river rafting, this is the gear that they would use. Ouch, ouch, ouch. Trying to walk barefoot. Oh yeah, they've got a whole set of life jackets. Yeah, it looks ready to go. And there's some rooms up here as well. This is quite nice. Look at this. Oh, there's one of my cats. Oh, that one's a big, looks like a stray tomcat. Oh, this actually is quite a bit bigger than I realized. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 rooms up here. Well, let's take a look inside one of them. Ah, okay. This one is air conditioned. 2 beds. And again, fairly a standard bathroom. Yeah, quite serviceable. And I imagine all these rooms here pretty much the same. Nice thing about these rooms, of course, is this seating area out front. Imagine if you go for a trek out into the countryside, a big group of you, it'd be nice to sit here at the end of the day, have a cold drink and tell stories. And there's some of my neighbors. Well, since I'm doing a deep dive into this place, why don't I check out the last building? I haven't really seen inside any of these places until just now. I didn't do a tour of all the different rooms when I arrived. I like that they have big adult-sized chairs. Room number 3. Ah, nice. Also, air conditioning available here. There's your bed. Air conditioning. And the bathroom. In looking at maps for Umphang, I've also spotted a number of places listed as resorts and campsites. So perhaps there are other places here that are fancier, more like a resort, and then other places that are more rugged, campsites. I'm walking like I'm 1,000 years old because I'm trying to walk barefoot across this gravel. My feet are just not up to that kind of challenge anymore. All right, time to get organized for a little short ride to a cave. I'm back inside my room, and it turns out that my guess is right. That in order to get hot water, I have to turn on this breaker. This one controls the air conditioner, apparently. When I came into the room, this one was set to on, and this one was set to off. And when you see circuit breakers, you don't really want to mess around with them. I have no idea what this does, so it's not like I want to just click things at random, but I just did a test, and when I turn this to on, now I have the power running to the hot water heater in the bathroom. So, mystery solved. And speaking of technology, I'm still always fiddling with the GoPros, especially on the scooter. And when I drove here from Mesot, I had a lot of trouble because I had worked out this system where I was mounting this GoPro, the one facing me, on the grip, the scooter grip, but I was using this extension, what do they call it? The gooseneck. This gooseneck that comes with the GoPro Jaws Flex clamp. And when I was sitting stationary and going on smooth road, it seemed to work out fine. So I thought I'd come up with a pretty good system, but it turns out that every time you go over a bump, it bends, you know, in different directions, no matter what you do. Especially this top one just became loose over time. When I first bought it, it was much stiffer, but now this connection is very loose, and every time I go over a bump, the whole GoPro just falls over. And if you look at the time lapse that I did on the scooter, you probably saw that up in the top left-hand corner, there's a corner of a GoPro appeared, and that's because the whole thing just flopped over. And this GoPro ended up in the shot, in the frame of the other GoPro, and I didn't realize it at the time. So there's a endless time lapse of one GoPro, you know, in the frame of the other one. But I bought another gizmo that I'm hoping will solve the problem. And here it is here. I bought this curved plastic mount. This is actually designed to attach to a motorcycle helmet so that the GoPro arches away from the helmet and then points downwards or something. That's what it's designed for, but it is rigid, so I thought I would attach it to the Jaws Flex clamp, use my gardening wire to tie it to the mirror, and now this GoPro should be pretty solid. And with my brand new Ulanzi ball head, this is very convenient because I can quickly loosen it and then aim it in any direction. I can aim it forward, backwards, sideways, do anything I want. So I'm pretty happy with this setup now, assuming that this will hold the GoPro firmly in position. You know, it's okay if it bounces. You know, if it bounces around like that, that's fine, because the GoPro stabilization will even that out without much trouble. But if it flops all the way forward like it did with this thing, you know, it would just fall all the way that way, and then it'd be pointing up at the sky. That was kind of useless. So I'm hoping that this rig will work out really well. And then the other GoPro, if I can keep, I'm using my second GoPro now. I managed to loosen the power button and it's working again, but I don't know how long that's going to last. But I will mount it here on this sticky mount as normal. Anyway, enough techno babble. Let's fire up the scooter and head to the cave.